Reporting ongoing investment due diligence is a critical step in the fiduciary process. The FI360 Toolkit facilitates this process with our due diligence reporting. So as an example, we have some of the sections that can be produced out of the FI360 Toolkit that'll either display watchlist decisions or also display the underlying analysis and detail of the watchlist decision and the factors and thresholds that went into that decision. Our first example here is the holding summary page. This page quite simply lists the investments held by the client, and in the far right hand column, an action item column lists the watchlist decisions, which investments are on watch, or perhaps which investments are recommended for replacement. If no action item is given, then the investment is not on watch and it's passing the review for the time period. The next section that we have is the FI360 Fiduciary Score Breakdown. This page will list the 11 different factors and thresholds that comprise the FI360 Fiduciary Score. It'll go through the 11 different factors and thresholds, showing which investments are passing and failing in the fiduciary score process. And again, on the far right hand side, there's an action item. If you're using the FI360 Fiduciary Score as your due diligence process, you'll probably see that the watch list action items will align to one of the decisions that you've made and one of the fiduciary score values that you've selected for the process. But if you're creating your own separate due diligence criteria, these watch list decisions may not align with the fiduciary score. If a good example of this is in this Oppenheimer, again, if I'm using the fiduciary score, the quarter score, less than or equal to 25 as my watch list decision, we can quickly see on this page that it's below that threshold and the investment is on watch. But keep in mind that that watch list decision may be overridden by other factors. One example of that is your custom due diligence criteria. If you're using custom due diligence criteria, this section, the due diligence criteria breakdown, will display those factors and thresholds and display those decisions that have been made to place the investment on watch based on the factors that you've selected. So up at the top of this page, we have the factors, the thresholds, the importance level, the periods evaluated and the periods required in our historical review, and the missing data treatment option as well, showing all those different factors and thresholds that are built into the custom due diligence process. And then as we scroll down, the final evaluation of the client's investments against that due diligence process. So whether the items are passing or failing, each of the underlying items, and then the final period status decision, whether the investment is passing or failing the criteria as a whole. If we want to dig down deeper into the custom due diligence evaluation, we can do that in the breakdown section and look at each of the factors and thresholds from a historical perspective, moving from right to left across the page. We can look at the most recent period, look at the passing and failing of the investment against the factors and thresholds, and see how that has affected the investment over time. See what those decisions or how those decisions have been made. But this page will display for each item or each investment that the client holds if you choose to show this information. The last page that I'd like to highlight is the watch list action items section, and this is a great section because it is and it will bring up a talking point in the discussion with the client. This section will display each investment that does fall on a watch list, and you can use this section in two different areas. Right now my meeting notes are blank, so what you can do is, if this is printed out, write down and document the meeting decisions for this investment. Are you going to continue to watch the investment or replace it? And then what you can also do before the meeting or after the meeting is go back into the toolkit, go back into the notes section, and type out the notes that need to be made or have been made, and store that information in the final document. So again, creating the fiduciary file, documenting the final watch list decisions in the report for the client.